help you sleep. How's everyone doing this evening? How are you doing this evening? I find that sometimes if I take 5 or 10 minute breaks throughout my day, it makes the world of a difference. Because I'm a chaplain and sometimes I don't really have regular hours. Because most of the time I'm on call. It also helps when I take what I call power naps. Just 10-15 minute naps. That may not be possible for you depending on what you do for a living. However, I would say that if you could take 5 minutes or even 10 minutes, some jobs will allow these 10-minute smoke breaks, they call them. Well, instead of smoking, you can take that time to pull out your Bible and read your Bible. You can take that time to take a walk. You can even take that time to do the breathing exercises similar to the ones that we are doing here. And then there are some other ones. As a matter of fact, why don't we do that this evening before we get started? We're going to do the 4 and 8. 4 and 8, yeah. So that'll be 4 seconds to breathe in, and then 8 seconds to breathe out. So you breathe out in a controlled way, but you breathe out slower when you breathe in. So why don't we try that? Because that's one that I used to use long ago, and every so often I still use it, and it's really good. So, and you basically do that for about, 3 minutes. I mean, you can do up to 5 minutes, but I would say 3 minutes will help a lot. It'll relax you. It'll calm your breathing. It'll relax your heart rate as well. So why don't we do that this evening? Let me just put my place over here. Yeah. Just make sure that everything is off. Good. Excuse me. Yeah, so we're going to begin with Leviticus chapter 17 this evening, and if this is your first time and you enjoy it, please consider subscribing to my channel, and please share it with others, let others know about it. And check out some of my other content as well. For those of you who are back for some more, well, I appreciate you so much from the bottom of my heart. Please like the video and leave a comment. And welcome back. Okay, so before we begin, why don't we do that a little bit of a different. I'm sorry if you hear some noise sometimes from outside. This is not the most soundproof room, and sometimes I have to crack my window open a bit because I think this room is right above the boiler or something like that, because it's just really hot sometimes. So I do apologize about that. Or maybe it'll add to the ambience. So I don't think we'll hear much, but we'll see. We'll see. Or you can let me know in the comments. Why don't you let me know if it interrupts you, or if you don't like it. Some people actually like the extra sounds. So why don't we go ahead and get started? So what we're going to do is we're going to close our eyes, we're going to relax, we're going to sit back, lay back, whatever makes you feel comfortable. And before you begin to hear the Word of God read to you, why don't we do breathing, which we always do. I call it the basics of life, but let's do a different one. This one's called 4-8, or 8 and 4, 4 and 8, I think it is. I forgot. But bottom line, you breathe in for 4 slow seconds, and then you let it out for 8 slow seconds. And then you repeat that, and you can do 5 minutes of it, as much as you want. But 2 or 3 minutes, even when you're at work, can help. It really can. It goes a long way. So when we begin, so let's breathe in for 4 seconds, and out for 8. And in for 4. And out for 8. In for 4. And out for 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can slow it down even more. In for 4. And out for 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The better you get at it, the more you can slow it down. In for 4. Out for 8. 3, 8. In for 4. Out for 8. And you can continue that for, I would say, no less than 3 minutes, but you can do much more, and this really helps with anxiety as well. So try it. Let me know how that works out for you. Let's begin. Leviticus chapter 17. So continue to focus on your breathing. Keep your eyes closed, relax as I read to you. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Give the following instructions to Aaron and his sons and all the people of Israel. This is what the Lord has commanded. If any native Israelite sacrifices a bull or a lamb or a goat anywhere inside or outside the camp, instead of bringing it to the entrance of the tabernacle to present it as an offering to the Lord, that person will be as guilty as a murderer. Such a person has shed blood and will be cut off from the community. The purpose of this rule is to stop the Israelites from sacrificing animals in the open fields. It will ensure that they bring their sacrifices to the priest at the entrance of the tabernacle, so he can present them to the Lord as peace offerings. Then the priest will be able to splatter the blood against the Lord's altar at the entrance of the tabernacle, and he will burn the fat as a pleasing aroma to the Lord. The people must no longer be unfaithful to the Lord, but offering sacrifices to the goat idols. This is a permanent law for them to be observed from generation to generation. Give them this command as well. If any native Israelite or foreigner living among you offers a burnt offering or a sacrifice, but does not bring it to the entrance of the tabernacle to offer it to the Lord, that person will be cut off from the community. And if any native Israelite or foreigner living among you eats or drinks blood in any form, I will turn against that person and cut him off from the community of your people. For the life of the body is in its blood. I have given you the blood on the altar to purify you, making you right with the Lord. It is the blood given in exchange for a life that makes purification possible. That is why I have said to the people of Israel, you must never eat or drink blood, neither you nor the foreigners living among you. And if any native Israelite or foreigner living among you goes hunting and kills an animal or bird that is approved for eating, he must drain its blood and cover it with earth. The life of every creature is in its blood. That is why I have said to the people of Israel, you must never eat or drink blood, for the life of any creature is in its blood. So whoever consumes blood will be cut off from the community. And if any native-born Israelites or foreigners eat the meat of an animal that died naturally or was torn up by wild animals, they must wash their clothes and bathe themselves in water. They will remain ceremonially unclean until evening, but then they will be clean. But if they do not wash their clothes and bathe themselves, they will be punished for their sin. Leviticus chapter 18. Then the Lord said to Moses, give the following instructions to the people of Israel. I am the Lord your God, so do not act like people in Egypt, where you used to live, or like the people of Canaan, where I am taking you. You must not imitate their way of life. You must obey all the regulations and be careful to obey my decrees, for I am the Lord your God. If you obey my decrees and my regulations, you will find life through them. I am the Lord. You must never have sexual relations with a close relative, for I am the Lord. Do not violate your father by having sexual relations with your mother. She is your mother. You must not have sexual relations with her. Do not have sexual relations with any of your father's wives, for this would violate your father. Do not have sexual relations with your sister or half-sister, whether she is your father's daughter or your mother's daughter, whether she was born into your household or someone else's. Do not have sexual relations with your granddaughter, whether she is your son's daughter or your daughter's daughter, for this would violate yourself. Do not have sexual relations with your stepsister, the daughter of any of your father's wives, for she is your sister. That's interesting because it talks about don't do the things that they were doing in Egypt or in Canaan, so perhaps these are things that they were doing, I guess. Do not have sexual relations with your father's sister, for she is your father's close relative. Do not have sexual relations with your mother's sister, for she is your mother's close relative. Do not violate your uncle relations with his wife, for she is your aunt. Do not have sexual relations with your daughter-in-law. She is your son's wife, so you must not have sexual relations with her. Do not have sexual relations with your brother's wife, for this would violate your brother. Do not have sexual relations with both a woman and her daughter. And do not take her granddaughter, whether her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter, and have sexual relations with her. That was a bit confusing, but let me read that again. Starting on verse verse 17. Do not have sexual relations with both a woman and her daughter, and do not take her granddaughter, whether her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter. I get it, okay. Got it. And have sexual relations with her. That was a bit of a tongue twister. They are close relatives, and this would be a wicked act. While your wife is living, do not marry her sister and have sexual relations with her, for they would be rivals. Well, that wouldn't be a good idea. Do not have sexual relations with a woman during her period of menstrual impurity. Okay. Do not defile yourself by having sexual intercourse with your neighbor's wife. Okay. Well, interestingly enough, sounds like common sense, but my mother, God bless her soul, before she passed away, she would always say, she used to say, young man, common sense is not so common nowadays. And as I continue to live life, I can totally understand why she used to say that. She used to say that since I was young. But as I grew and experienced life, I realized that it's so true. Common sense is not so common nowadays. Okay, let's go back. Do not permit any of your children to be offered as a sacrifice to Molech. Verse 21. Okay. To Molech, for you must not bring shame on the name of your God. I am the Lord. Do not practice homosexuality, having sex with another man as with a woman. It is a detestable sin. A man must not defile himself by having sex with an animal, and a woman must not offer herself to a male animal to have intercourse with. This is a perverse act. Bestiality, of course. Do not defile yourself in any of these ways, for the people I am driving out before you have defiled themselves in all these ways. Because the entire land has become defiled, I am punishing the people who live there. I will cause the land to vomit them out. You must obey all my decrees and regulations. You must not commit any of these detestable sins. This applies both to native-born Israelites and to the foreigners living among you. All these detestable activities are practiced by the people of the land where I am taking you, and this is how the land has become defiled. So do not defile the land and give it reason to vomit you out, as it will vomit out the people who live there now. Whoever commits any of these detestable sins will be cut off from the community of Israel. So obey my instructions and do not defile yourselves by committing any of these detestable practices that were committed by the people who lived in the land before you. I am the Lord, your God. Leviticus chapter 19. The Lord also said to Moses, give the following instructions to the entire community of Israel. You must be holy because I, the Lord your God, am holy. Each of you must show great respect for your mother and father, and you must always observe my Sabbath days of rest. I am the Lord your God. Do not put your trust in idols or make metal images of gods for yourself. I am the Lord your God. When you sacrifice a peace offering to the Lord, offer it properly so you will be accepted by God. The sacrifice must be eaten on the same day you offer it, or on the next day. Whatever is left over until the third day must be completely burned up. If any of the sacrifices eaten on the third day will be contaminated, and I will not accept it. Anyone who eats it on the third day will be punished for defiling what is holy to the Lord, and will be cut off from the community. When you harvest the crops of your land, do not harvest the grain along the edges of your fields, and do not pick up what the harvesters drop. It is the same with your grape crop. Do not strip every last bunch of grapes from the vines, and do not pick up the grapes that fall to the ground. Leave them for the poor and the foreigners living among you. I am the Lord your God. Do not steal. Do not deceive or cheat one another. Do not bring shame on the name of your God by using it to swear falsely. I am the Lord. Do not defraud or rob your neighbor. Do not make your hired workers wait until the next day to receive their pay. Do not insult the deaf or cause the blind to stumble. You must fear your God. I am the Lord. Do not twist justice in legal matters by favoring the poor or being partial to the rich and powerful. Always judge people fairly. Do not spread slanderous gossip among your people. Do not stand idly by when your neighbor's life is threatened. I am the Lord. Do not nurse hatred in your heart for any of your relatives. Confront people directly so you will not be held guilty for their sin. Do not seek revenge or bear a grudge against a fellow Israelite, but love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. You must obey all my decrees. Do not mate two different kinds of animals. Do not plant your field with two different kinds of seed. Do not wear clothing woven from two different kinds of thread. If a man has sex with a slave girl whose freedom has never been purchased, but who is committed to become another man's wife, he must pay full compensation to her master. But since she is not a free woman, neither the man nor the woman will be put to death. The man, however, must bring a ram as a guilt offering and present it to the Lord at the entrance of the tabernacle. The priest will then purify him before the Lord with the ram of the guilt offering, and the man's sin will be forgiven. When you enter the land and plant fruit trees, leave the fruit unharvested for the first 3 years, and consider it forbidden. Do not eat it. In the 4th year, the entire crop must be consecrated to the Lord as a celebration of praise. Finally, in the 5th year, you may eat the fruit. If you follow this pattern, your harvest will increase. I am the Lord your God. Do not eat meat that has not been drained of its blood. Do not practice fortune telling or witchcraft. Do not trim off the hair on your temples or trim your beards. Do not cut your bodies for the dead, and do not mark your skin with tattoos. I am the Lord. Do not defile your daughter by making her a prostitute, or the land will be filled with prostitution and wickedness. Keep my Sabbath days of rest and show reverence toward my sanctuary. I am the Lord. Do not defile yourselves by turning to mediums or to remember that you were once foreigners living in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Do not use dishonest standards when measuring length, weight, or volume. Your scales and weights must be accurate. Your containers for measuring dry materials or liquids must be accurate. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt. You must be careful to keep all of my decrees and regulations by putting them into practice. I am the Lord. Leviticus chapter 20. The Lord said to Moses, "Give the people of Israel these instructions, which apply both to native Israelites and to the foreigners living in Israel. If any of them offer their children as a sacrifice to Moloch, they must be put to death. The people of the community must stone them to death. I myself will turn against them and cut them off from the community, because they have defiled my sanctuary and brought shame on my holy name by offering their children to Moloch. And if the people of the community ignore those who offer their children to Moloch and refuse to execute them, I myself will turn against them and their families and will cut them off from the community. This will happen to all who commit spiritual prostitution by worshiping Moloch." Actually, Moloch, which is spelled M-O-L-E-C-H. Obviously, I grew up and I am deeply embedded among the Jewish community, and so the CH is really it's a sound. So really, I say Moloch because it's kind of how Americans say it. But it's really Moloch. So that's pretty interesting. Just wanted you, maybe you know that, maybe you don't. The CH sound is a sound. Let's continue. I will also turn against those who commit spiritual prostitution by putting their trust in mediums or in those who consult the spirits of the dead. I will cut them off from the community. So set yourselves apart to be holy, for I am the Lord your God. Keep all my decrees by putting them into practice, for I am the Lord who makes you holy. Anyone who dishonors father or mother must be put to death. Such a person is guilty of a capital offense. If a man commits adultery with his neighbor's wife, both the man and... Okay, let me start that again. If a man commits adultery with his neighbor's wife, both the man and the woman who have committed adultery must be put to death. If a man violates his father by having sex with one of his father's wives, both the man and the woman must be put to death, for they are guilty of a capital offense. If a man has sex with his daughter-in-law, both must be put to death. They have committed a perverse act and are guilty of a capital offense. So in a way, he's taking what we read before, rules and regulations, and now he's giving them these rules and regulations a sentence, which in many cases seems to be death. If a man practices homosexuality, having sex with another man as with a woman, both men have committed a detestable act. They must both be put to death, for they are guilty of a capital offense. If a man marries both a woman and her mother, he has committed a wicked act. The man and both women must be burned to death to wipe out such wickedness from among you. If a man has sex with an animal, he must be put to death, and the animal must be killed. If a woman presents herself to a male animal to have intercourse with it, mother, they have sexual relations, it is a shameful disgrace. They must be publicly cut off from the community. Since the man has violated his sister, he will be punished for his sin. If a man has sexual relations with a woman during a menstrual period, both of them must be cut off from the community, for together they have exposed the source of her blood flow. You know, there's a lot of this that I would probably, I did it way back in school and in Bible school, then during my master's of divinity, but I haven't read a lot of this in a while, and a lot of this here would be interesting. You know, when I read it, it would be interesting to actually research it a little deeper. For together they have exposed the source of our flow, blood flow. That must be something more to that. Do not have sexual relations with your aunt, whether your mother's sister or your father's sister. This would dishonor a close relative. Both parties are guilty and will be punished for their sin. If a man has sex with his uncle's wife, he has violated his uncle. Both the man and the woman will be punished for their sin, and they will die childless. Okay. If a man marries his brother's wife, it is an act of impurity. He has violated his brother, and the guilty couple will remain childless. You must keep all my decrees and regulations by putting them into practice. Otherwise, the land to which I am bringing you as your new home will vomit you out. Do not live according to the customs of the people I am driving out before you. It is because they do these shameful things that I detest them. But I have promised you, you will possess their land, because I will give it to you as your possession, a land flowing with milk and honey. I am the Lord your God, who has set you apart from all other people. You must therefore make a distinction between ceremonially clean and unclean animals, and between clean and unclean birds. You must not defile yourselves by eating any unclean animal or bird or creature that scurries along the ground. I have identified them as being unclean for you. You must be holy, because I, the Lord, am holy. I have set you apart from all other people to be my very own. Men and women among you who act as mediums or who consult the spirits of the dead must be put to death by stoning. They are guilty of a capital offense. Well, there you have it. Again, a lot of detail. It was interesting because one portion of what we read this evening, or what I read to you, it's almost about like giving a list of rules and regulations of the do's and don'ts, mostly the don'ts. And then right after that, it almost gave you the sentencing, the judgment and the sentencing, which in a lot of these cases was obviously death, followed by punishment. Actually, the majority was death, followed by being put into exile from the community, removed from the cutoff from the community, followed by punishment. But there's a lot here that has to be researched, and it's so interesting. Soon as we go into the Christian Bible, or the what is known as the New Testament, it's going to be interesting to see how Jesus brings clarity to all of this. I mean, there's a lot here that Jesus addresses and brings clarity to. So that's going to be interesting when we get there. So we're going to leave it there for this evening. I hope that you've already fallen asleep. If not, I hope that you've relaxed and keep breathing, keep your breathing exercises going. And I just hope that this is a blessing to you. It surely is a blessing to me to be able to read to you. So next time we get together, we will begin with Leviticus chapter 21. Believe it or not, we're almost done with Leviticus. So we will go to, we will begin next time we meet with Leviticus chapter 21. Alrighty. So that's about it for now. May God bless you. May God keep you. Have yourselves a good evening. Bye-bye.